So while Valve has been experimenting with brain interfacing and remaining completely silent on their VR hardware, their VR software, Artifact, Team Fortress 2, the TF2 comics, CSGO operations, and much more, the community has been hard at work on essentially replacing the things that Valve leaves the community hanging on. And I personally, as Valve News Network, feel like I should be trying to get as many eyes onto these incredible community projects as possible. However, I get so hung up and preoccupied with HOVR leaks and possible TF2 updates that I just don't do enough work for the community. And I have a show dedicated to the community, Community Ketchup. And this is the return episode of Community Ketchup for the month of March 2019. So for those that don't know, Philip, formerly of Planet Philip and Run Think Shoot Live, has retired from the Half-Life community. I'm sure he's still playing things here and there, but he is no longer hosting mapping competitions. Instead, we have this new group called MapLabs. It's an interesting idea. MapLabs itself is going to be its own mod, free for download on Steam, and each competition will be an update to that mod based off of Half-Life 2's source engine. The engine that the modders get to use is expanded. Not only do you get numerous code fixes, but you get new enemies, such as the terrifying Lost Souls and Shadow Walkers, along with the weapons that aren't in stock Half-Life 2 like the stun stick, the flare gun, and the slam. From October until now, there have been 4 different competitions: Halloween Horror, One Room, Episode 1, and Companion Piece, separated into 2 types: Map Labs and Test Tubes. Map Labs are much longer form, giving each of the competitors a longer time to be able to create things under a certain theme. Test Tube has people competing in a very short time limit with a very strict guideline. One Room, for example, only allowing 1 room. These are incredible, and I very much appreciate that the spirit of Run Think Shoot Live's Vils are being carried on. I also think that with the integration onto Steam, this might be even better than the way things have been done in the past, even though I do know Philip was planning on using a Steam mod at some point in the future. So the current 4 competitions are available to download on the ModDB page, and if you want to compete, they always have something going on, the Discord to which is found on the ModDB page, and I'm also going to place the invite link down in the description below. I highly recommend competing, and I highly recommend supporting. This is some of the best work that's being done in the source engine modding community today. Picture yourself at the end of Half-Life 1. The G-Man just gave you the ultimatum that really isn't a choice. You can either choose to partner up with the G-Man or face certain death in Zen. Now imagine a mod that lets you win that almost certain death in Zen. On March 15th, 2019, Half-Life Anticlimax was released onto ModDB, and it puts the player into that exact situation. Without spoiling things, this is a difficult and somewhat experimental mod. Generally, the mood and feel kind of reminds me of Half-Life Echoes, but there's a lot more going on here. Honestly, I'm not going to spoil what this mod is about, and it's awesome to see full campaign-like quality still being released on ModDB by this very starved community. Valve does not deserve us. That said, if you want to be able to try and see if you can beat what the G-Man thinks you can't do, download Half-Life Anticlimax down in the description below. I'm sure everyone is aware of Year of the Dragon, the Spyro and Half-Life mod that gained mainstream media attention last year. This is an excellent example of what mashup mods can be. And there's another one in town called GoldSource Kart. It's Mario Kart in Half-Life 1. This mod started development on January 8th, 2019, and there's a lot of work needed to be done if this wants to be a full playable title. However, I want to try and push some support into this because it sounds so friggin' stupid. For example, did you know that you can race as a file cabinet? Did you know it? Next is a mod that has been in development for years and is a beta mod that will likely release. Indeep is a recreation of the Half-Life beta from 1997, essentially anything that is XLab until essentially what preliminary findings is trying to do. This mod essentially covers everything from the XLab era to what the mod preliminary is trying to cover, so like what, late 96 until very early 98? This is incredibly ambitious. However, I have been able to play a lot of what's going on, and an early version of the Communications Center was available to play, and there's a lot of work being put into this. Screenshots are being analyzed as much as possible in order to be able to recreate usable and realistic geometry. And the sections of maps that they can't find in screenshots, they recreate themselves in the style of the beta. On March 10th, 2019, a new media update was released on the ModDB page, including a single screenshot. This media release is more for information. Essentially, it's just Jack talking about how the mod went on hiatus in 2018 and then went through some of the best things that he has created over the years. This doesn't mean the mod is ceasing development or is on another hiatus. On the contrary, this is just trying to keep the people interested up to date and promises more information in the near future. And I'm giving it a shout out so that more people show interest in it because I'd actually like to play the final version. And then we get to Half-Life Year of the Dragon, which is more than likely the most popular Half-Life mod in development right now and is the Spyro and Half-Life mod we've discussed earlier. There's not a whole lot to discuss, but the creator of the mod, Magic Nipples, did publish a a video to his YouTube channel discussing the new Chrome and lighting fixes he implemented into Zash, which is a semi-legal source port of the Half-Life 1 engine that this game runs on. There's not a whole lot of information on exactly what's going on with this mod, but if anybody's interested, I can do an interview with the creator. Just let me know if you want it down in the comment section below. And lastly, if you thought MapLabs needed some more GoldSource, then the whole Half-Life has you covered. This is a very old Half-Life fan site that has existed for years and has had many different competitions in GoldSource for a very long time. And the latest one, the whole Half-Life mini competition, is going on right now and closes in 3 weeks. This is one of over 30 competitions that this website has hosted and always brings out some of the best modding talents in the GoldSource communities. I highly recommend it, and I pretty much only recommend competing if you really know what you're doing. You're up against the people that are developing and holding back the core. In case you don't know, the core has been in development for years and has been playable for a couple of years. Still not out though. I'd love to play it. Maybe one day. Hopefully I don't die before the core's out. And of course, Community Ketchup pretty much just focuses on the development of Half-Life and Half-Life 2 mods. However, I am starting Community Week. For 1 week every 2 months, I will be covering as much of the community as I possibly can. And coming up this week, we have exclusive looks into Team Fortress 2 Classic, Boreal LF, and much more. If you're a modder or mapper and want to get into contact with me, my email is always down in the description below, and my DMs are always open. If you want to be able to keep up with all of the real-time news, follow my Twitter and my Discord, both of those, once again, down in the description below, and thank you very much for watching. I'm Tyler McVicker, this is Valve News Network. Have a good day,